Alright guys, an update on my sprinting finally. Sorry it's taken so long. I wanted to explain things precisely, so I've written it out, and that's why I'm not speaking off the top of my head in front of the camera. So here we go. Last month I had a two-part plan for what I wanted to achieve. I succeeded in the first part, which was to get good times in the 100 metres and 200 metre races in the team event on the 19th of May. Most of you will have seen my previous videos of those races. However, I didn't do so well with the second part of the plan, which was to break 12 seconds in the 100 metres at an open event a week or so later. Going back to the team event on the 19th, after the two individual sprints, my right hamstring was starting to twinge noticeably. I knew it was an exacerbation of an existing strain, but I still took part in the 4x100 metre relay at the end as I didn't want to let the team down. This extra sprint definitely made the strain significantly worse, and the long drive home only added to it. I'd had the hamstring problem on and off for quite a few months at least, so I thought I could work through it. I trained 2 days later at the Tuesday group session, and the pain gradually eased as I did a few 200 metre sprints, but it returned later. At the Thursday session, the pain didn't ease, and I couldn't get near the other 12-second guys for any of the 100 metre reps, even at the end. I still thought I might be okay for the open event, which was the following Tuesday. However, the hamstring strain was slower to improve than I'd hoped. My flexibility had already been quite bad, and I think I'd been unable to touch my toes most of the time during the first half of May. But even by the Tuesday, I still couldn't reach much further than my knees without my right hamstring starting to complain. So of course, I didn't do the open event. Really, I was having to come to terms with something inevitable. I'd done a lot of research in previous months and concluded that I had high hamstring tendinopathy in my right leg. All the advice had suggested that at least 8 to 10 weeks recovery is needed for proper healing and to stop the problem becoming ever more chronic. This was the last thing I'd needed at the start of the season when my form was generally so good, so I'd carried on and hoped for the best. Maybe if I'd been able to avoid bend running and been selfish about only doing the races and training that I felt totally comfortable with, I might have got away with it. But the issue now seemed to have reached a point where I needed to take it more seriously. I decided on a couple of basic rules. One, I was going to follow the 8 to 10 week guidelines in terms of gradually working back to 100% sprinting. Two, I wasn't going to sprint at all until I could touch my toes without significant pain. Following these rules has meant that I've missed 3 full weeks of group sessions, and I haven't been back to the track at all since the 23rd of May. I've already missed a Masters League meeting, and I'm missing the next senior meet as well. It's been quite depressing, to be honest, as I've missed the focus that sprinting normally gives me, and it's been hard to stay as motivated without the group sessions. Also, the weather has been terrible for June here in the UK, especially in the past week, with daytime temperatures only around 12 degrees C and up to an inch of rain a day, so I haven't been as active in the outdoors as I'd have liked. However, between rainstorms, I fitted in short bike rides, and as it's so hilly around here, this is pretty good cross-training for the leg muscles. I've kept up a basic level of all-round exercises, and I guess basic for me would probably be considered a decent workout by most people. More specifically, I've tried to focus on moderate exercises and stretches for the hamstrings and related muscle groups, not just for rehabilitation, but also to continue my progress towards optimizing my posture and movements generally for sprinting. As you may be aware, this has been unfinished business for me due to the difficulty of changing my long-established movement patterns from distance running and due to my age. In fact, it may be precisely this progress with my sprinting technique that has been a major reason for the hamstring problem. Previously, my stride length was relatively short, and together with my leg length differential, my right leg is longer than my left, this had implications for loading patterns. In particular, it meant that my right leg probably didn't straighten fully during ground contact or use its full force, especially in the upper hamstring and glute area. Now that I've lengthened my stride by increasing vertical force production and compensated for the leg length differential with insoles and a stronger left leg, it's fair to assume that my right leg has needed time to adjust. Probably the tendons haven't been able to adapt to the extra loading as quickly as the muscles surrounding them. My hamstring pain would manifest most obviously with the hip at its highest forwards angle during the swing phase. But it's become apparent to me that it's the full extension with loading at ground contact that's probably the main aggravating factor, with this likely being worse during bend running. While I was working all this out for myself, I came across an article from Simply Faster, which I found very helpful. It's called Chronic Hamstring Problems in Sprinters, Management and Recovery, and I'll put a link to it in the description. There seemed to be a very good fit between my own conclusions about how the hamstring issue is limiting my training and a persuasive argument in the article about the benefits of heavy compound weights exercises as part of recovery. Some of you will be interested to learn that this tipped the balance for me to join a gym for the first time since I started sprinting. I've worked in gyms in the past, which is part of the reason I've been reluctant. Why pay to use something that used to come with your job? But I've found a very cheap off-peak deal with no contract, and surely getting over 6 months of gym access for under £100 is worth it if it helps me to get past that 12-second barrier and beyond. So I went for the first time on Wednesday and got cracking, not literally I hope, with squats and deadlifts, etc. Luckily, both my form and the weights I was lifting weren't as bad as I'd feared. I'm hoping to go at least twice a week for the foreseeable. I think comfortably lifting 100 kilograms for both squat and deadlift would be a good goal. But obviously I want to have a broader approach, and actually there's a surprisingly good range of other equipment in the gym that should be useful for what I want to achieve. Today I finally did something approaching sprinting, having only done running on the spot or short runs outside up to this point. I did some short uphill work with 60 to 70% effort and a smaller amount of downhill too to get the legs turning over a little faster. It felt good, and while the hamstring was nagging at times, there was no significant pain during or after the training. I can touch my toes reasonably well today, and although it's still pretty painful for the last couple of inches of the stretch, I reckon my self-imposed rule shouldn't apply for too much longer. So to come full circle to the title of this video, well, the title of the video is Back on Track. It might be, I might change it in future, but anyway, I hope to be back on the track soon, even if it's a few more weeks before I'm back on track fully with my ultimate sprinting goals for the season. I texted my coach yesterday to say that I hope to return for light training on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll try to update you on how it goes.